Paramedics are standing by waiting. As of right now, they are calling this a rescue mission. We've not heard it referred to as a recovery, but you have to imagine this has been going on now for at least an hour or longer, and the idea of an individual being buried underneath 8 feet of dirt certainly makes it understandable why there is this sense of urgency to rescue whoever is trapped underneath this dirt. But we're just seeing and hearing these workers out here as they bring in various forms of equipment. Again, very loud, heavy machinery that's trying to possibly suck up or remove this dirt. We've also seen them sort of leveraging long strips of wood. And I'm not sure if you can see as Bill zooms in, my photographer Bill that's out here with me, I can see firefighters and rescue workers with their bodies parallel to the ground, almost as though they're trying to reach down into this hole and help move this dirt aside and possibly pull out whoever is trapped underneath here. But obviously a very precarious situation. It just got a little bit quieter here, so I think they've turned down some of this machinery. We've seen them switching out the different tubes that they're using. You might be able to see that right now. It looks like they are separating a tube that had been connected to that machinery, possibly bringing out something different. But again, the sense of urgency here, whoever is trapped underneath has been trapped for some time now. And of course, every minute, every second likely counts.
And let me map this out for you so you can see exactly where this is going on. Again, this is happening at Oak and Divisadero Street. This is in the Nopa neighborhood of San Francisco, and this has been happening for quite a while now. They've been working here on this rescue for well over an hour. Right now, I want to show you a tweet from the San Francisco Fire Department. They've been updating us as much as they can, and they just put out this tweet not too long ago saying that the trench rescue at Oak and Divisadero Streets in San Francisco still happening. Rescuers are still working to access the victim trapped below ground. Heavy rescue technicians and trench collapse experts are on scene, as well as DPW, SFFD, medical director, and search dogs to assist. I'm going to pull up some of the pictures that they tweeted from the ground, and you can see here what it looks like for some of what they're showing us from their perspective. Obviously, they're a little bit closer than our news crew and our Sky 7 helicopter. And here you go, you get a better idea of that dirt that they're trying to dig out and trying to get to that rescue worker and one of those dogs that they mentioned. And of course, more of that dirt piled up there. That's the area where they've been working all morning long and now well into the afternoon. A pretty scary situation there. I'm going to pull up our video from Sky 7 once again, and this is a live look at the scene of exactly what is going on here. You can see how many people are here working to rescue this person, this worker that's trapped under 8 feet of dirt. And again, for any of you that drive this way, that know this neighborhood, in case you're curious, again, Divisadero Street is shut down in San Francisco. It's at Divisadero and Oak Street. Again, I can pull up that map and show you right exactly where that is. So right there, that's the map, not too far from the Panhandle. Oak and Divisadero Street. That's where that trench collapse happened. I'm going to take you back live to our camera that's on the ground, and you can see a little bit better of exactly what is going on here. Just a massive operation. So many people working here to rescue this worker that's been trapped for well over an hour. You could just imagine the desperate need to get to this person as quickly as possible. But we still don't know how this happened. We're still trying to get that kind of information and any other details for you, but we have told you as much as we know. And again, I'm going to pull up our Sky 7 picture live over the scene, and you can see how massive this operation is, this rescue operation that has been happening now from, I would say, around 10:30 this morning, and that's when the San Francisco Fire Department first put out that tweet informing us of what is going on. We do have a reporter that's on the scene. Melanie Woodrow has been gathering more information. You heard from her just a short while ago, giving us details on what's going on there and what she's been seeing from the ground. But pretty incredible that all this work is being done to try to help get this worker from under this 8 feet of dirt, and that's from the San Francisco Fire Department. That's who's telling us this, that worker is trapped under about 8 feet of dirt after a reported trench collapse. I'm going to leave this live picture for you. I'm going to check in with my assignment desk right now to see if we can get any more details for you, any new information as we continue to cover this breaking news for you in San Francisco. A rescue underway at Divisadero Street and Oak Street, where a worker is trapped under 8 feet of dirt. So hold tight. I'm going to leave this live picture from Sky 7 for you here on our live stream, and I'll check back in with you here in just about a minute to see if we have any new details that I can share with you. All right, we have a couple of updates for you on this breaking news situation happening right now on Divisadero Street in San Francisco. And right there, you see Captain Jonathan Baxter with the San Francisco Fire Department talking to the media, giving us more information. Let's go ahead and listen into that.
We rescue this individual from the footprint, have our paramedics and our medical doctor evaluate the individual. And again, sadly and unfortunately, there were no signs of life for this individual, which made that now a fatal incident.
That device crew, that device that was being used by the heavy rescue unit, was that digging through the dirt to try to reach that individual?
So that was a street vacuum used by one of our city partners that we special called to the scene to assist us in sucking up basically a lot of the debris and the dirt that is around that area. It's a very high-powered vacuum that's able to facilitate removing debris quicker than if we had to do it by hand.
We appreciate your time.
John, what can you tell?
What happens at this point?
At this point, San Francisco Fire Department is going to be working with the Medical Examiner's Office, as well as reporting this to Cal OSHA. Our partnering agencies that are responsible for streets and utilities will also be evaluating the incident for safety and to see what exactly happened at this location.
John, what can you tell us about this person? Not so much biographical information, but more, were they a worker? What were they doing out here?
You know, this is somebody's family member. This potentially could be somebody's father. It's definitely somebody's family member. Somebody who's in San Francisco working to ensure that utilities work for everybody and ensure our livelihoods. It's extremely sad when we lose anybody for any circumstance. It's extremely more sad today, as this was an effort by over 50 firefighters to rescue this individual, and the outcome is not what we wanted. It again has unfortunately been established as a fatal incident.
Was this a city worker, somebody working for the San Francisco County?
What we know at this time is that our city agencies responsible for working in areas with this have accountability of all their workers. So that means that this is a private company, and the city will be looking at what type of company was this. Was this a private company for the actual homeowner, or was this a city contracted working agency?
You mentioned Cal OSHA might be early in the investigation, but do you have any sense of whether or not it's something that went wrong out here in terms of conditions here out in the street versus the way that this private company was going about doing their business had an accident?
So Cal OSHA was called for any incidences like this to establish what happened, right? And what can we do to prevent something like this in the future? So the fact that Cal OSHA is being called into this location does not mean that there was something done wrong by this area. It's to evaluate what was occurring, and if there was something wrong, they will address it at that time. It's something the fire department is not responsible for, but it's something that the fire department assists with.
Who called 911 or the fire department? How did you guys find out?
I don't have specifics on who exactly called 911, but I know 911 was called early, which is instrumental in getting the resources here to effect the rescue.
But not by the person that was underground, right? This was from somebody else working with that person, or?
I don't have that information, but I think it would be safe to say that that person was not in the position to call 911.
Can you please once again tell us, how do you come to realize that the person was actually not alive anymore? Can you explain me?
Once we were able to rescue the individual and get the individual out of the footprint of the collapse zone, our paramedics and our department doctor were able to evaluate the individual, and there was no signs of visible or viable life at that time. And this person was trapped under a lot of weight with no oxygen for over 2 hours. So again, it's an extremely sad event for everybody on scene.
When you say weight, what kind of material do you find inside?
We have dirt and concrete consistent of the material that you see above ground right now.
Can you tell me what is the person right now? What are the efforts now that is confirmed that is not?
The next steps now is the medical examiner will be cognitive of the individual and respectful of this individual. We will be removing the individual from that location at a later time and taken to the medical examiner's office to be reunited with their family members and then have the proper burial ceremonies placed for that individual.
You mentioned Jonathan Baxter. You mentioned the thing that was sucking the dirt out.
That's going to be a vacuum truck, and that's by one of our city partner agencies.
Can you tell us what other efforts we saw here? We saw like strips of wood at some point.
Are you live right now?
I'm not. Let me move in. Yeah.
You got it.
Once again, we are continuing to follow this breaking news of a worker that was trapped here in this trench. And what we learned right there from Captain Jonathan Baxter with the San Francisco Fire Department, some sad news. When they checked on the person, they saw no signs of life. So we do now know that this worker was killed in this trench collapse. We got a little bit more detail as to what happened here and what that worker was dealing with. We're told that the person was trapped under a lot of weight for about 2 hours with no oxygen. That was what Captain Jonathan Baxter told us about that rescue operation and what they learned. Now the San Francisco Fire Department is going to be working with the medical examiner's office, and Cal OSHA will be investigating as to exactly what happened here. But once again, we have learned that that worker, a city worker working on utilities there, did die in that trench collapse. We're going to continue to cover this for you. We have our reporter, Melanie Woodrow, who you heard they're asking questions to Jonathan Baxter with the San Francisco Fire Department. She's on scene getting more details, more information, and we'll have much more for you later on ABC 7 News. Our next newscast is on at 4 p.m., so you can get the latest there. You can also get any updates on abc7news.com, our website. Thanks for watching. For right now, we're going to take you back to regular programming.
Affect anybody? No, okay.